works. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lyon Richard Stevenson, and I'm your GAT area leader for 1G. And if you happen to see the slide just a minute ago, you'll see how big 1G is. We were just talking about it, and it's over 1 million square miles. So if it weren't for Zoom, we wouldn't be able to be here tonight. So let's talk for a minute about Mission 1.5. Mission 1.5 is our 4-year plan to get us to be able to serve 1 billion people a year. And part of that plan is to get us to 1.5 million members. And we have 4 years to do it. And it's only a 12% increase over the next 4 years. But as you know, a 12% increase over 4 years doesn't seem like much. But we haven't been doing so well for the past 38 years. So we're going to need some tools to get us to 1.5. And one of those tools is the GMA for clubs. And this is a game changer. And we're going to talk about that tonight. The first message I have to share with you is that because of the importance of GMA for clubs, because of the impact it's going to have on our districts, we should want to be part of this team. And I want to encourage everyone who wants to be riding the wave of success and leading your district forward to consider becoming part of the GMA team. I guarantee you, you're going to see a lot of visibility and see a lot of great results and make a lot of new friends. And it's a lot of fun in the process. So if you're not the GMA champion yet for your club or your zone or your district or your multiple district, raise your hand. What you're going to learn here tonight will prepare you to start working on that. I hope you'll consider that. Let's go back for a moment and talk about what the GMA is, the Global Membership Approach. It's a process, and it came about as a result of NAMI a few years ago, and it's a process we've been using before, and its objectives are to rejuvenate districts with new clubs, revitalize clubs with new members, remotivate memberships and with fellowships and great service, and to grow membership across all CAs. You've noticed it fits very closely with the GAT team because it's dealing with service, membership, leadership, and all the parts of our clubs, districts, and multiple districts. So the GMA for clubs, on the other hand, is a little simpler. We've been doing the GMA for districts for a couple of years now with success. And now we're taking it down to the club level. And there is no right way to do the GMA for clubs. It's a process that you can come up with for your club, and I might do it differently in mine, and that's perfectly okay. It's a simple process of structured brainstorming that you want to generate goals with. And it's easy, and it produces results, and it's fun. Today's goal is I want to leave you with the tools to facilitate the GMA for clubs in your area. Just the tools. Will you be an expert? No, this isn't brain surgery. This is something that we can all do in our own clubs. And I want you to leave here today with the tools and the confidence to take it back and give it a try. Where are we now? You know, we've lost over half of our clubs in the last 38 years in CA1 and in GAT Area G. And our club size has declined. Our average club size in our GAT area is 22, but 55% are below 20. So we have a lot of small clubs. And as I mentioned, we have a huge distance to cover. Our median age has risen. Our median age in our GAT area is 65. That means half of our members are over 65. Think about the impact of that over the next few years. How can we grow our clubs and increase service and have more fun? Well, that's a question we want to answer. Does the GMA work? Well, you can see the chart here, and it's GAT area 1H, which was our GAT area before we expanded it to 1G last year. And you can see the growth in GAT area 1H. We had 16 GAT areas, only 2 were positive last year. 1 was 1H. What was 1H doing that was different from other GAT areas? Well, you can see it in the results. And I've listed 3 of those districts here as being the largest one. 28U, which is Northern Utah, won the Jesse Robinson Award, which was the highest percentage increase of any district in CA1 in the United States. So while the number wasn't so big, it was positive, and it was, as a percentage, a huge increase. And you can see the team there. And if you look around on the screen, you can see a number of them here. Past District Governor Carroll is there on the bottom left-hand side. And her husband, Mike, is there waving the bottle of liquor, as always. And there's their current district governor up on top, and the past council chair as well. This was a team effort at the district level and club level. And perhaps they'll be able to chat a little bit at the end about some of the things they did. 39W, which is Western Idaho, also completed all of their goals for the year. And they utilized GMA to really hit it out of the park. And also 46 Nevada, plus 35. So you can see these districts, while practicing the GMA, were able to see great success. Was it the same GMA? No. Is it the GMA that I'm going to talk about here? Maybe, maybe not. They did the GMA as they saw it. They took the bits and pieces out of the process and applied it to their district, and they saw results. Let's talk about the process. It's facilitated in a club meeting by Lions. So we're going to be doing it in club meetings. We're not going to be renting Carnegie Hall. We're not going to have a big screen TV. We're going to do this in a club meeting, maybe in a restaurant with servers serving plates, collecting bills, probably an hour long, and it's going to be done by a lion that probably people will know in the meeting. It's a simple business management process. It's also a simple process that you use in your daily life. And that is, where am I now? Where do I want to be, and how do I get there? Let's say I'm a freshman in college and I want to graduate in 4 years. Well, I know I'm a freshman and I know where I want to be, which is a graduate. What do I have to do to get there? I'm going to look at the classes I have to take in order to get there. Very simple process. We use it every day in our daily lives. A couple of the things you're going to see are SWOT, which is looking at our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and threats at a district level, but maybe not at a club level. Then we're going to look at SMART goals. We're going to create SMART goals, which means specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. What does that mean? Who's going to do it? What are they going to do? When's it going to be done by? Simple, right? The goal is to leave the meeting, the club meeting, with 3 goals to success, and the tools for the club to achieve those goals and move forward and continue the process in the future. The club monitors the goals, celebrates the success, and sets new goals. That's the process. Very simple. Some thoughts. Remember, this is about preparing you to be a facilitator. And as a facilitator, you assist the club to build their plan. You don't show up and tell them what their plan's going to be. You might hint about a couple of things, but this is the club's plan. And it's a Lions Club meeting, not a classroom. And you've all been to enough Lions Clubs meetings to know what that means. And you have as many Lions attend as possible. You want all the members of the club to buy into whatever comes out of this. And that means they need to be a part of the process. Know your audience. Be flexible. If you have a club that's all college professors and you have a club that's a bunch of duck hunters over here, you're probably going to run the process in a different way. So know your audience. Be flexible. KISS. Keep it simple. Have fun. This is a fun process when you do it right. I've done it enough times now to know you can leave with a big smile on your face because you've really had some fun doing it. When you start out, agree on the facts. Agree on where you are now. We have found that many lions recall the projects they did the 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they recall how big the club was 5 or 10 years ago. The number of lions in your club is how many are in my LCI and are paying dues, not the folks that you remember from a couple of years ago. So agree on the facts. Spend some time getting the facts down. Because it's a Lions Club meeting, flip charts and Post-its work well. I can assure you that any technology you drag to a restaurant isn't going to work. You know Murphy's Law, and when it comes to dealing with Lions Clubs, Murphy was an optimist. And make sure you can walk before you can run. We need to start slow and build from there. This is a sheet that I use when I do this. I leave this sheet in every place where people are sitting with a pen, and I allow them to make notes. And then they can take this sheet with them and take it to their next meeting and have what they saw today. If I'm doing this in the back of an automobile instead of in a restaurant or on a park bench, and I can't use my flip chart, I can use just this document because it's going to have the same exact structure as my flip chart. And as an example of why doing it my way isn't the only way, one of my partners that I work with, Chris Gunstream, who is down in Texas, he showed me his sheet, and it's different. So you can come up with your own. You can download this one. You can use it as a guide or not, as you see fit. This happens to be the one that I use. You'll notice the 2 quotes there and the where are we now facts. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. Here's my flip chart. I made this in my garage because I found that those little flimsy ones that cost $100 just don't work very well. And so I made my own and I bought the paper, and there we have it. And I start out the process in a club by asking everyone, if we continue as we are, where will our club be in 5 more years? If we keep doing what we're doing, what will we have in 5 more years? Remember, median age 65. A lot of people will look around the room and say, you know, in 5 more years, we might be smaller, we might be older. And that's a key question, to just lay it out there and let people answer it. And you'll hear some pretty good answers. It's a motivator to take this seriously. The second one is, if we keep doing what we've always done, we'll keep getting what we've always got. And that's another one. If we want a different outcome, we need to try something different. So let's try this process. This is my where are we now flip chart. This happens to be for the Buckeye Club that I did a couple of months ago. And before I showed up, I went through my LCI. I went through the club report. I went through My Lion. I looked up the Google. I used artificial intelligence, and I got a bunch of information about the club and about the community. Now, what's interesting about this community is it's one of the fastest growing communities in the country. That's a key fact to have as we talk about this club. So I came prepared with all the facts, club statistics, my LCI, club health report, which has stuff in red And if you've ever looked at it when it's in red, those are indicators that LCI feels are important to the health of a club. That's something to make a point of writing down. Then there's community info. What about social media and website? Does your club have social media? Oh yeah, we have it. When's the last time you looked at it? Well, not for a while. Hasn't been updated in 2 years. Do you have a website? Yeah, we do. Well, it's got a calendar for 4 years ago. Taking a look at it and getting all your facts is important because a number of Lions are going to be surprised at exactly where they are today. So the first thing, let's look at what the vision of these Lions is. Where does this club want to be? Let's just say in 5 years. Ask them, where do you want to be in 5 years? And then record the answers on Post-its. A Post-it, the plug can't be kicked out of the wall or the lights can't fail for a Post-it. And you can move it around and you can save it. It works really great. Record the answers on Post-its. And here are some examples. These are not necessarily ones that you want to impose on the club, but these were ones from actual clubs. And the one I thought was most interesting there was 25 active members. They had plenty of members. They just didn't have 25 active members. And then there were other things. They wanted to be a family. They wanted to be members of the community. They wanted to have an active branch, be visible, a whole number of things. This is a great place to start with where do you want your club to be? So the next one is, let's look at the club's strengths. And this is where the club's pride shows through. We can ask the members of the club, what is it your club does well? And boy, you're going to get a lot of answers. And write them down, stick them up on the board. The Buckeye Club had a professional photographer. Well, that's a heck of a strength, isn't it? They had a 501c3. Well, that's pretty important. They happened to be quite small before they did this process, but they had some great strengths. We put them down and we're going to figure out ways to use them to move forward, to build a plan. And this is where the pride really showed. Interesting. Schools, partnerships, lots of good ideas there. Now, for the things that we can do better. Weaknesses is a bad word. Challenges are things we can do better. The Lions know what they can do better. Between the facts that we just laid out and what their own personal complaints are, we know the things we want to tackle. We see up here, a number of Lions didn't like the meeting time. And they said, can we have a different meeting time? What about the age of the members? What are we going to do about that? Cliques, we've always heard that. Old traditions, boring meetings, high dues, a whole number of things. And these are things that may be preventing Lions from having a great experience today, or they may be things preventing new Lions from joining, or they may be things that you've joined new Lions and these are the reasons that you've learned why they left. So these are things that we need to work on. Opportunities are things beyond the club, things outside of the club. And as I mentioned, the Buckeye Club was in one of the fastest growing communities in the country, and they have 40% of the community is under 18, and they have young families. And that club happens to be very good at high school sports. Think about that. It's a natural fit. So we got growing community, and they wanted to have other foundations that they could partner with. And they knew a number of them in the community. And so these are unique things to your community. What's interesting is the strengths and weaknesses. You'll find probably 80% of them are common to all of our clubs. And the opportunities may be a little different. Next step, we're going to set some goals. They need to be smart. They need to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. We need to know who's going to do it, what are they going to do it, when's it going to be done by. If you're just starting this process, we'd like to keep it as simple as possible. Let's make them small steps and we'll repeat them. Let's make them short term. So by the next meeting, we're going to do something. And then we're going to use our strengths and fix our weaknesses. And let's get some examples. And I know Lion Al Hedstrom has an example for me he'd like to share.
I'm sorry, do what now?
Would you give me an example of a goal for that you'd like to put in for your club?
One of the goals that we've been bandying around is not just bringing in members, but bringing in younger members. And that's a challenge for all of us. So yeah, that's one of our goals is, and we have put a number on that. In 5 years, we've been talking about this now. In 5 years, we want to see 40% of our membership to be under 40.
Great. Is that an actionable time-bound goal short term?
It's not short term, but yeah.
Could we break that into smaller pieces, for example?
Yeah.
How about by next, I'm going to think out loud here, by next meeting, we send out an email to the members and we ask them if they know anyone who's 10 or 20 years younger than they are that we might want to invite to the membership toolbox dinner that we're putting forward. So our goal might be to say, by next meeting, we want Secretary Bob to develop a list of names we can add to the membership toolbox of people who Lions have been given us that are maybe 10 or 20 years younger than a Lion. Maybe that's not so specific, but that's maybe one idea. Mike, have you got an idea, a goal you might come up with?
Yeah, I think some of them, our goals can be raise the percentage of folks giving to our organization and maybe say 10%. And I'll do a monthly check until I receive my goal and say, and define and put a specific date on it, like, 6 months into my term, something like that. I would say that it meets the requirements.
Interesting. LCIF is what I assume you're talking about. Am I right?
Yes, or your state's foundation, your local foundation.
I heard just yesterday about a club where the person said, I'm leaving now and I need you to come up with a percentage that or a dollar amount that everyone's willing to give to LCIF I forgot, maybe it was in a month or 2 months or 3 months. And the club sat down and came up with $20 a piece. So the goal was, we're going to all give $20 by the next meeting to LCIF. And so in that case, was that specific? Yes. Was it measurable? Yes. Was it, and who was going to do it? Yes. So you see that you can start doing that. Let's take, for example, membership. One of the easiest ways to get some more members, some new members, is what they call Lion Safari, which is to gather up the people who've left your club over the last few years. So let's say we set a goal where we say, Secretary Sue, by next meeting, we'd like you to develop a list of all the Lions that have left the club in the last few years with their contact information and who their sponsor was, to be handed out at the next meeting. So specific, yes, Secretary Sue will hand out a list at the next meeting with this information on it. And it's time bound and it's simple and it's short term. And then what's the next goal going to be? Once that's handed out, if the sponsor's in the club, they're going to give a call to these people and say, we know you left. Maybe you left for some certain reasons, and perhaps those reasons have now changed and you'd like to come back. Or would you like to join us at the next project we have? We think it might be of interest to you. So that would be the goal for the next meeting. So you see small bites, and then in 5 years, you might have that younger group. If we start with just the smaller goals and the short-term goals. So we're also going to use our strengths. That's that new service project we just came up with, or the new meeting time that maybe wasn't convenient for a couple of people that left. So we're going to fix our weaknesses, and we talked about some examples there. Big journeys begin with small steps. And what we're trying to do here is to get a club to learn how to do the process, begin doing it, and benefit from it. Here are some SMART goals that came up from clubs. And these are examples that we might choose from. We don't want to force these on our clubs as we're doing the process, but they may be ones that if they're stuck, or you might want to look at a list, maybe they say, oh, this applies for us too. Emails in my LCI. 29% of the Lions in this GAT area do not have an email in my LCI. We know many of them have emails. They just are not in my LCI. How can we send them emails and connect with them if we don't have them on record? That's a SMART goal that we can work, that the secretary can work on and get done by the next meeting. We won't get them all necessarily, but we've made the effort. Elections. When we were doing this, the club had not done their elections yet, and they were behind schedule. So the goal became, let's do our elections. How about orientation for all Lions? More fellowship. That's not specific, but it's something we might want to work on. Attend a convention. What if we put together a carpool and had the club pay that $15 for that kickoff, put everybody in a car and go to that convention we just had in our district last Saturday? Those are some examples we could hand out. And if you're stuck for goals, there's always the Club Excellence goals. The Club Excellence Award is one of the best programs we have. You can find it on the LCI website. It has these great goals that if you sign up for them and do them, you'll get the Club Excellence Award at the end of the year. And these are all basic ones that we know work to help the health of a club. So there's something to look at there. Loaded club officers contribute to LCIF. We know these, but putting them down as goals and following up on them is essential to getting them done. So they're good ones. There's also some always good ones here. So attend a convention, officer training, club health assessment. They're always good goals if you're shy on things to do for goals for your club. What's next? Who's going to be the GMA champion? Your districts, your zones, and your clubs need those of us who are interested in this to step up and do the process for a club. A facilitator can go into a club and do the process. Do you need to be an expert? No, you don't. You just need to be confident and have access to the tools. You've seen the tools tonight. You can download the video. You can download the slides. You have the tools. You can be a facilitator. So we can share the plan with all Lions in the club after we've done the process. The club wants to track the progress. They want to celebrate success. When we have a success, let's celebrate it. How do we celebrate a success? Secretary Sue, thank you for getting that list out. We really appreciate your help. We couldn't have done it without you. Then we want to update the goals and rinse and repeat. I want to ask you now, did we achieve our goal? Am I leaving you tonight with the tools to facilitate the GMA for clubs in your area? I can only see 5 of your pretty faces, and you're almost all nodding yes. We'll have a couple of minutes for questions here, and if there are questions, we can help answer them. I hope I was helpful in giving you some tools here. The slides for this presentation are here on the Google Forms. I will send this out to everyone who received an invitation for this presentation. If you did not receive an invitation, that's because you're not on my mailing list, which is made up of specific officer titles within the district, my LCI. If you'd like to be on my mailing list, I can add you, send me an email. You'll see my email in a minute. You can take a photo of it, or you can have your district governor send me an email and say, just please add this person. I have an extra list over here that doesn't come from my LCI. And the worksheet is in the files section of the GMA for Clubs Facebook group. I encourage you all to join that group. That's where we talk about exactly what we're talking about tonight. The 2 QR codes will take you to those 2 locations. You will see all this in the email tomorrow. Contact information, more information. The multiple district GMA champions are your best friends. They will be there to help you, whether it be to sign up this process in your club or help you learn how to do this further for other clubs. Or if that person is missing from that job, step up and take it. Have some fun, ride the wave. The Lions Learning Center has GMA class, it's worth taking. And the LCI has a wealth of GMA information. Just go to the website, go to the little magnifying glass, type in GMA, you'll see a ton of stuff. You can see my email here, and I am with the GMA for Clubs Facebook group and the Global Lions Forum Facebook group. I recommend you join them if you're not a member. We talk about these things every day. Questions? And